You started as a dancer. You danced for quite a number of years. What drew you to acting? How did that come? How did that happen for you?
Well, when I was 4, my parents took me to a ballet school because I had too much energy. They didn't know what to do with me. So they realized, like, when I was there for like 4 hours every day, I was much more easy to deal with at home. So that's how I got in contact, with ballet and music, and then with movies. I became a very big fan of movies. And I remember when my dad, who's here today, came home with a Betamax machine. And I miss my family today a lot because not all of them could be here. And today is a very, very special day for us. And anyway, he's here, and when he came home with that huge machine, that was so many years ago, I was a little girl. And he explained to me what it was. We didn't grow up with a lot of money, so we could not go to the movies a lot. But thanks to that machine, I was able, like, for 50 cents to rent movies. And that's how I started dreaming about movies. That's how I discovered Almodóvar, and how I became obsessed with him. And it was my obsession with him, with his work, what made me, it didn't go away over the years. So when I was 12 or 13, I saw Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down. And you were supposed to be 17 to watch the movie, but I went alone to the theater, and I came out completely fascinated, and I said, okay, I'm gonna go look for an agent. And I went and looked for an agent. Her name was Katrina Bayonas, and she's here today. We're still working together.
Oh, that's great. That's how it started. When you met Almodóvar finally, did you connect to him immediately? I know you are very good friends now. Was there an immediate connection when you finally met him?
Yeah, even before. Like, I would go to a place and I would think of him. I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. I would think of him and I would feel like he was around, like I was gonna see him. 5 minutes later, he was there. But I was too shy to talk to him. I was very nervous to approach him, and because I was such a huge fan. And then when I was 17, after Belle Époque and Jamón Jamón came out, he called me. I was in the bathroom doing my hair, and somebody said, Almodóvar is on the phone. And I was completely blocked and didn't react. That was the dream, for me, the biggest dream ever for me as an actress. And he called. And that time we didn't work together because it was for Kika. And I was 17 and the character had to be 35, so it didn't work out. But he wrote me a letter, said, I'm gonna call you for a movie soon. And he did, for Live Flesh.
Yeah. What is it, you've worked by this time in your career, you've worked for numerous directors. What sets him apart? What is different for you about working with him?
For me, he's just such a unique person. The way he sees life, his humor, his mind is just genius. And I don't know, he's a very complex person. He's not easy or simple, but I love him because he's like that. He can intimidate you a little bit, but his heart is huge. And he's always been there for me from the beginning, and as a friend also. Yeah. But even now, after 10 years of friendship, even now I am scared of him a little bit on the set. And I love that feeling. I get there, and if one day he says, girls, this is not working with a scene, it's complete terror on the set. Like, no one talks, but every single person in the crew is very, they all feel a lot of respect for him, because when he's making a movie, that's his baby, and you can tell how important it is for him. And I love working at that level of, it's very demanding for us, but I love that. He's so grateful, and every time something goes well on the set, he calls you at the end of the day to tell you and celebrate, and he's happy, and I adore him. I miss him a lot tonight also, because he said, if somebody asks you about me, tell them hello, tell them I'm very sad I'm not there, and tell them I am inside your purse, holding your hand all night. And he's still up. I think he wants me to call after this to give him the report.
He said, one of the things that he said about Volver is one of the hardest thing about Volver, and people will see this, is writing the synopsis, because it's a film that's very hard to describe. And I wonder how he described it to you when he first told you about it. Did he talk to you about it, or did he just have you read the script?
No, first he tells me about it, and you should see my face trying to act normal when he tells me about those characters, like when he told me about All About My Mother, and he said, this time you're gonna play a nun that gets pregnant from a transvestite, and then you're gonna die of AIDS. And I was like, great, sounds really good. But I was thinking, maybe this time he's going too far. I don't know how he's gonna make that believable. But then I read the script, again, one of the best things I read in my life.
Yeah.
And he makes all of that believable because there are stories about life. And when we were making that movie, we met people that were in those situations that my trailer was full of them, you know,
Wow.
and life is that. And he's not afraid of telling stories that are real, and he never judges his characters, and that's what I love the most about him, his freedom.
Yeah. And so what did he say to you about Volver?
About Volver,
Yeah.
he told me 5 years ago, and he told me about playing the daughter, because
Wow.
I was, you know, by then, he thought it was better if I played the daughter. So then last year, a year and a half ago, he said, I'm writing, and I think now you can play the mom. And all I remember was that the husband was in the fridge. That's how we talked about the story. The movie where the husband in the fridge. And I knew he had to do that one. We were all pushing him to do that one. And then he said, I was very happy that I was able to play a woman, finally, because that's where I am now. Not when I met him, I was 17, but I wanted to play the mother.
Yeah, yeah. You know, when I talked to him at Cannes, I talked to him about the film, about many things. He was most passionate about working with you. That's what he really felt so strongly about. And I wonder, you touched on it a little bit, is it kind of make you nervous to work with someone who expects so much of you, who you feel so close to? Is that like an added kind of thing that you have to deal with?
Yeah, I feel a huge responsibility because I feel if he puts those characters in my hands, all that I care about is not disappointing him. Every day, I have a mission. It's like I want to see a smile on his face when we go home. And it was 6 months of our lives. We rehearsed for 3 months and then shot 3 months. And it was very intense. And for me, like my attention is on him because he's the creator of this story, and I can measure how things are going by looking at him in the eyes, and he's so honest. And every day, because also the character, so many things happened to this character, it was very overwhelming as an actress, so it was like one thing at a time. My character has to live her life like that, because if not, she would be dead, because there's so much going on. For me as an actress, I had to do the same thing, one action at a time, and it was the only way, because it was very scary and overwhelming, but I love that feeling.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. I mean, he said, I was surprised, 3-month rehearsal period. He said that he goes over this line by line and that he really tries to really tailor the script to the specific people who are in it. What is it like to work that way?
He's a great artisan. Yeah. Can you say that in English? Artisan?
Yeah.
Yes. So we sit around him in the table and we read, and maybe like 2 months go by where every day we read the script and he takes notes and he is adapting the characters to each one of us, and he needs to hear it breathing. And then we had all the different activities, like I had to do a lot of cooking lessons and drive my big truck, and in the morning all of those activities, and then with him. And then not until the 3rd month we started thinking about looks for each character and trying clothes and doing the scenes, not until the 3rd month.
Yeah. One of the things he said, I know it's been written about, but I wanted to hear how it worked for you. He gave you a false bottom. Why did he do that, and how did that work for you?
Because he kept talking about Dustin Hoffman's butt in Tootsie, how much he liked it. And he said, for Raimunda, I need these big hips because she gave birth when she was 13. And my body is very different from her, and I gained a few kilos for the character, but he wanted big hips because of that, because when she gave birth, she was a kid herself. So we tried it on, and we liked what it did for the way I moved and the way I walked, and we kept it. And it's amazing that here in LA is the only place where people ask me, my God, you're so brave to let Pedro make your look bigger. It's like, it's not about that. It's really not about that. We didn't even have that conversation, you know? It's like having the right shoes for the character and the right look, and it makes you walk in a different way. Yeah. But now there are many different stories about that. Like one was that one of the false stories that I was so emotionally connected to that piece of material that I cried the last day taking it off or something like that. And that I kept it, and all kinds of crazy stories. But
Okay. Now, is it true that the Spanish you speak is the Spanish of his region? And how is that different? Is it a different accent, or what is different about it?
The accent from La Mancha is a little bit like Pedro and his family talk, but he lost it because he's in Madrid for so many years. But it's for sure different from the way that we talk in Madrid.
Yeah. Was it difficult to?
We went there and we taped a lot of the women and hung out with his sisters and worked on it for those 3 months. But I like doing accents, so it was fun.
That's good. Wanda, I wanted to ask you about, you act in so many languages. What is it like to act in your first language, to act in Spanish? Do you prefer that? Is it different? What does that feel like after being so many other places?
Well, I felt very relieved that finally I could go and speak in my own language, but of course then there was the accent, so there is always something, always a teacher next to you or a dialect coach. But that's fine, you get used to that, and sometimes it's almost a liberation, to have that. You can use it in a way that gives you more freedom. You can use an accent that way or work in a different language because you don't recognize yourself so much. So you can always see the positive in something like that. It's just more hours of work, but you can use it just to, that's the way that character speaks. So.
Now, this is a film also with Carmen Mora, who had worked in many films with Almodovar, and then they had stopped, and now she was back. Was that did that add a kind of extra emotion to the film?
Yeah, but it was very easy for them, the encounter, because they had not worked together for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
They've made amazing movies together. She's an amazing actress. She and I never worked together, but we had a great connection on the set. So it was amazing to see how two people that know each other so well, like time didn't pass for them.
Really?
In the first rehearsal, I was a little nervous, thinking, oh my God, like these two have gone through so much. How is this gonna be? And it was like communication was instant. They know the other one is thinking. Wow.
That's great. Now, I know that when I spoke to Almodovar, he said that for him making this film, because it's in his home region and it has to do with the memories of his mother and his sisters, it was a very emotional experience for him making the film. Could you feel that as an actress? And could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, because he's one of my closest friends and I know him very well. And I know like the figure of his mom was very present on the set. And especially in La Mancha, when we shot there, he always wanted to take a walk at the end of the day.
Really?
And he and I walked around town in total silence, and I knew he was going through a lot of, the memories that he has, because he has not spent a lot of time in those villages since he went to Madrid. And he was very peaceful, more than ever on the set. Oh. And I think it was the energy of that place and all his childhood coming back. I don't want to speak for him, but he shares that with us.
Yeah. Is it, I think for me and for most of the people who saw the film at Cannes, people think this is your best work to date. And I wonder, do you feel this as an actress, or is this something people on the outside feel?
I feel he's giving me the most complex and difficult, demanding character that somebody has ever put in my hands. And as actors, we depend on that trust. And he's done that with me. The 3 times he's giving me characters that were unexpected, that most of the people would not have been brave, to give them to me just out of fear. And he does it with every actor. He knows what you can do before you do it. Yeah. And that's great for us because we do depend on that. Yeah. And I am very tough on myself, but I never look at my work separating that from the rest of the movie. I look at the whole thing, and I think this movie works. This movie touches people's hearts, and I am just one more piece of that puzzle, and is all what he's done, including the trust of casting all of us for those characters. All of us, all of the other actresses that are amazing in the film. They've never done this kind of character before. So, I feel like I owe him a lot.
It must be satisfying to have done such good work for someone who is so close to you, to work with a friend at that level.
Yeah, for example, a day like today means even more. This is a huge honor for me, but it means even more that it's with a movie that I did with him, with somebody that I love so much and that has believed in me so much from the beginning,
Yeah. Okay. Did you have, I mean, before the movie, is there anything else you want to say about it or say in general?
No, I just want to thank everyone that is here, especially all my friends that I've been like trying not to, controlling myself. I've been good not crying. I've had to make a big effort not to cry with everything that my friends said. And it makes me very happy to have people here supporting me, people that I love so much. Like Salma Hayek is the girl. Okay, this is gonna be tough to say this without crying, but she's the person that picked me up at the airport the first time I got to LA when I got my first movie, and I didn't know anybody, and I was scared because I didn't speak English and I just knew my lines, and I was coming here and I knew her because she said something on TV about me. So my father told me, and I called her to say thank you, and said, when are you coming? I'm gonna pick you up. This girl is so generous. Can this be for real? And until now, she's for real. She's like that. She's always been there for me as a friend. And I just have this image of her picking me up at the airport and taking me to lunch and shopping before I went to my hotel, because she knew I was going to be terrified of getting to LA. It's such a different city that now I love very much, but at the beginning I didn't like it. Because I was lonely, and if it wasn't for her, it would have been, much tougher. All the free time that I had, I shared with a wonderful friend that now has become like family to me. And and Tom and Michael, I want to thank them for everything that we've gone through together since I was 17, and always they are so supportive to us and good people. I like working with people that are smart and good, but have good hearts. And Eva for also being so generous to come and do this for me, and everyone here and my family, because in a day like today you can't thank your family, right? You can. They have been so generous, and they let me fly so young, and I really appreciate, now that I'm older, I really know that probably it was hard for them, when I said I'm gonna do this, and I'm so young, and they gave me that freedom, and they had to fight very hard, to raise all of us, and every day I appreciate it more, and I love them so much, the ones that are here and the ones that are back in Spain, and everyone who's here who works with me, that always also believed in me and supported me, and they know who they are, and I don't want to keep talking, I just want you to see the movie, and I hope you enjoy it, but and all of my other friends that are here, that they also know who they are. Thank you so much for your support, and now I'm going to shut up and leave. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.